So I'm going to start with the dahlia flower. So the template that I have in Design Space should cut 10 of this shape. I'm going to leave the last 2 aside and just work with the first 8. Now this process that I'm doing, you could probably cut it down to 6 instead of 8 for this purpose. The smaller your flower gets. I mean, I'd probably do it if you were doing like a 3-inch dahlia, you'd probably only cut the 6, and as you go higher and higher, I'd probably recommend more pieces, just because as the bigger the flower gets, you want to fill it a little bit more. So I just grab a bunch of them, however many you feel comfortable doing at a time. You can do them singularly if you like, but for this purposes, I'm just going to try and curl them all at once. And I just take the end of a paintbrush. You could probably use a wooden dowel or glue stick or something round and smooth like we did with the last one, and just sort of curl the flower around it so it kind of arches. So I'm just doing that with each petal. So just curl as you see comfortable. You can just, if you like, you can curl one side and then curl the other. It has the same effect of just trying to curl it around the one. And it doesn't matter, you can probably use your finger a little bit to make it more curled. So just this process. So that's the first lot, and then I'll just do this batch here. So I think I'm doing them in lots of 4 batches of 4 at the time. So, and the shape of the dahlia doesn't change, so you can cut it as many times and just have spares sitting there if you need to. And you'll get an opportunity to recurl if you're not comfortable with the shape or happy with the shape of them. Once you're gluing them, you'll be able to play around and recurl them just to style to your design. Alrighty, so we've just got them all sitting here. Just got my glue gun here, so get him ready. Alrighty, no matter what I do, I always end up with glue on me. So very basic. You grab your first one, and what you want to do is you want to lay it sort of in between, so that it creates sort of like a layered petal effect. At the same time, you'll sort of scrunch a little, but not a lot, just so that they sit up a little bit more. And if you want, you can shape your petals a little bit more so that they stand up as you come across them. So I'm just going to put some on the end. It doesn't take a lot of glue, but just to get it sort of started. Once again, there's no perfection required. And you just do that same process, just trying to create height in the flower as you go. So I always find that folding the petals up a little bit will help create that shape that you're after. And then glue him in, so he's starting to stand up a little bit more. So once again, just sort of petal him up, and I just want him to have a little bit more of a shape. There's no, once again, there's no rules as to the shaping. You can have him as full or not full as you like. And then pop him in between your flower petals. So you can see he's sort of getting some height. So I'm just going to shape him a little bit more. It's just the same process, so it's not all that difficult. And I just fold these petals up to create the height. Just so we have some height. Oh. Once again, in between your petals, so you can see he's getting fuller and fuller. I just find with 6 inches across, you kind of need that more, a couple of extra petals or layers of petals, because it's very easy for them to feel flat. It's cardstock. Once again, you can spritz them with a little bit of water if you choose, so that when it dries, they'll dry in the position and won't lay flat, but that's personal choice. You can also use ink and texture them with different colors. So I have never really gotten into the inking of cardstock. I don't really play with a lot of inks, but you know, if you're a card maker, you'd have some great inks at home. So we're getting really full here. So I'll do one more like that, and I'll actually do the last 3 slightly different. So we're just going to bring this, get a little bit more curvature, lift our petals up so we've got some height. Give him a little bit of glue and pop him down in between and press down. So you see now we've got like a nice little gap there. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to try and curl these more to one direction. So just do one side of the petal fully curved. So you'll notice that only one side stands up as opposed to both sides. Kind of like a pinwheel, how only one side flicks up on paper pinwheels. And we'll fold them up. There'll be a method to this one. We're going to do some strategic tucking once I've got the folds up. So with these, you kind of want to fold it so that one goes behind the other at all times. So sort of like, you know how you fold a box lid, and you always want to make sure that each one has one out and one tucked under. So by doing this, it creates a little cone effect or a little sphere. So you want to sort of do that and kind of like scrunch the bottom a little bit just so that it's all there. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a squeeze just so it kind of forces it to stay in. But we want to do that same process for the others as well. So I actually have to curl these ones up, the last 2 that are remaining. So this has been done for number 8, 9 and 10 of the petals. Once again, they're all the same shape. So, you you don't have to worry about figuring out which one is 8, 9 or 10. So just curl up one side only and make sure it's the same side on each petal. You don't want them to have different edges. So you can see they're all curling up. Give them the height that we need them to have, just so it'll be easier for your tucking. Alrighty, so now we've got 2 sitting here, and we've got our one like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue on this one, and we're going to tuck it in here, but we want it to put it, sorry about that, I just had someone trying to call me. So you glue that diagonally, so the crease there will go in the middle of a petal, and once again you do the same process. You want to do like a tucking method. So pull one up and you want to spiral it around the bud. I guess we're making the center of the bud, and tuck it under the previous one. So eventually it'll be like that, just 2 bunches spiraled around. And we're going to put these ones inside here. So once again, these crease, or the slits here where between the petals, will go in the center between the other petals inside. And I'm pushing this down because I don't want to try and push my fingers in. So at the moment we've kind of got this method here. I'm going to do the last one, same as what we did with the first one, just tucking the petals. They will naturally fall where they need to go. You just need to play with it. It's kind of hard with your hands. So essentially what you will do is you'll grab one and sort of tuck it and tuck it, and then tuck that one, and then tuck this one, and then this one will go in and out, and they will all sort of eventually fit where they need to go. If you hold them in your hand, it'll all just be a spiral. But what you need to do here is kind of scrunch up the bottom a little bit, because the more we put inside here, the smaller that hole is. So we don't want it to feel like it's encroaching. And I always just hold the top a little bit and just give it a pinch, just so that it tries to keep its shape more upright than downright. So I sort of just hold it there for a little bit. Put some glue on the bottom of it, and same as before, just make sure it's in the opposite place as the others, so that we continue a more layered effect. And then there we have it. It sort of spirals around each other, and you have a nice little round dahlia. So that's the process of putting together the dahlia template that I have on Design Space. If you have any questions, just send me a message and we'll go from there. Alright guys, happy creating!